Hello and welcome to the Vegan Corner. This is our video for one of the most popular recipes in the whole world, pizza. There are two kinds of this traditional Italian course: deep pan pizza, which is beautifully soft, pillowy and usually cooked in an oven tray, and the more classic thin round pizza, commonly baked using a baking stone or a log-fired oven. We will obviously share both preparations with you, but today's recipe is about preparing deep pan pizza. You will find the ingredient list in the description below the video. To begin with, place the salt and 3 tablespoons of the flour into a small bowl and stir to combine them. If you are not planning to use salt, simply skip this step altogether. Now pour the water into a bowl large enough to accommodate all the ingredients and dissolve the yeast into the water using your fingers. Here we are using fresh yeast, however, you can also use active dry yeast. Now add the flour-salt mix into the bowl and whisk the ingredients properly. Start adding the flour into the water 3 tablespoons at a time and whisking vigorously to incorporate it. At a certain point, the mixture will become too hard to be managed with a whisk, so swap it for a spatula and keep adding flour and stirring it in. Once the mixture becomes too hard for the spatula, transfer the soft dough onto a working surface and start kneading it by hand, adding more of the flour every time it becomes sticky. There isn't an exact amount of flour you should use, but don't be scared. This is actually a good thing and it will help you to obtain a perfect dough at every attempt. The entire process of making pizza dough should last for about 20 minutes. The kneading process can be brought to an end as soon as the dough becomes soft and elastic to the touch, but not sticky, as you can see here. It is now time to divide the dough into portions. As usual, to get perfect results, make sure to use a scale. To help you better understand how much dough to use, we have created an Excel spreadsheet that will help you with the math. You can download it by following the link in the description below the video. After the dough has been divided, the portions need to be rounded. This process is once again easier to show than to explain, so here it is. Once the rounding of the portions is complete, it is time for the dough to relax, a process needed to obtain a final pizza that is easy to shape. Once finished, dust a piece of greaseproof paper or a wooden surface with some flour, place a portion of the dough onto the flour, spray a bowl with some water and use it to cover the dough. Repeat the process for the other portions of the mixture, making sure to use bowls that are roughly 1 inch larger than the dough. Let the dough rest for 30 minutes before moving on. Once the time has elapsed, you will see that the dough is a bit flatter than before, which means that the relaxation process worked and you haven't just wasted 30 minutes of your life. At this point, the relaxed portions need to be rolled down. So dust the surface with some flour, place the dough onto it, add some more flour onto the dough and start rolling it down. You want to obtain a flat dough that roughly matches with the size and the shape of the tray you are going to use. Whilst you are rolling one piece of the dough, make sure to keep the others covered. To prevent the pizza from getting stuck to the pan during the cooking process, you can either use a non-stick tray or grease the tray with some oil. Now simply move the dough onto the tray and gently stretch it by hand until it perfectly matches with the surface of the tray. To keep the surface of the pizza moist, you can spray the internal surface of a second tray with water and use it to cover the tray containing the pizza. Alternatively, you can cover the tray with a damp kitchen towel. Another option is to brush a thin layer of oil onto the surface of the pizza. The next step is to pierce the entire surface of the dough using a fork, which will allow for a more even rising and cooking later on. Once all the pizzas have been rolled down, pierced and covered, it is time for them to rise until roughly double in size, a process that will take approximately 3 to 8 hours, depending on which one of our recipes you decide to follow. Now, simply place the trays into the oven without turning it on and leave them there for the entire duration of the rising time. 30 minutes before the rising time has elapsed, remove the trays from the oven and preheat it to 250 degrees Celsius or 480 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Once the time is up and the pizzas are doubled in size, you can begin with the cooking process. So uncover the tray, place it into the oven and cook the pizza for exactly 4 minutes. You don't want to add any topping to the pizza during the first part of the cooking process, as the result would be disastrous. Once the time is up, remove the pizza from the oven and you'll find yourself in front of a soft and pillowy piece of bread that doesn't resemble pizza in the slightest. We are going to fix that in just a moment. First, let's begin by adding a good layer of pizza sauce on top of the base. Now let's move on to the cheese. Simply add as much as you want of it. You can use any sauce and cheese you desire for the pizza, or no cheese at all. We are using our own pizza sauce and mozzarella cheese, and you can find the link to those recipes in the description below the video and in the cards. If you want to add different toppings, some classic options are grilled vegetables, olives, fresh tomatoes, dried tomatoes, pesto sauce, capers, garlic, onions, basil, artichokes, fresh or dried chilies, and cooked spinach. The only limit is your imagination. Once all the toppings have been added, simply place the tray back into the oven and bake the pizza for an additional 5 minutes. After this time, you will find yourself in front of an amazing homemade pizza with a superb soft consistency and loads of flavor. Now, if you didn't use any oil, the crust of your pizza won't color as much as it could, and keeping it into the oven won't have any positive effect. If you are serious about making pizza and want to become a professional pizza machine, we strongly recommend you to watch the Guru version of this video, linked below and in the cards. If you enjoyed this pizza-based episode of the Vegan Corner, please don't forget to hit the like button before moving on and subscribe if you haven't already. Many thanks for watching and to the next video.